Today what we're going to do is we're going to clean the throttle body and the mass airflow sensor on a 2013 Mazda CX5. So the easiest thing to do first off is to remove this plastic panel here. There's no screws, it's just in with, it kind of pops into place with some rubber grommets and stuff. I've already popped mine loose. It's easiest to start from the back. So you'll be able to see all this now once that's done. Now, what we're looking at today is we've got a couple of screws. So your throttle body's here. Okay, this is the intake from the airbox, which is here. This is your mass airflow sensor here. So we got a couple of screws we're going to have to take out. We want to be very careful with this part because it's a fragile electronic part. You don't want to break these little tabs. We got a screw here that we have to remove to get to the throttle body, at least make it easier, and a screw back here, as you can see. These are both, you can use a nut driver or a Phillips 3 to remove these. And you get a Phillips 2 for these two screws. So let me get this stuff loose and then we'll wiggle it off. Now, this one hasn't been done before, so it's a little bit sticky. As you can see, this is actually already loose. I don't know if you can, yeah, there you go, it's loose. Unfortunately though, because it hasn't been off before, it's a little stuck. So sometimes those may take a little bit of jiggling, but give me just a second and we'll get the next step. So the easiest thing to do in the next step is to remove all this. So I've got both of these screws loose here. And what I want to do now is I'm going to pop the airbox loose. So to do that, you get a spring clip here, literally just pops, and another one here, just pops. And those are your only two clips. There's none on this side here, none over on this side here. Okay, so I've got the airbox off now. It's here. A little bit of wiggling and it came loose. You can see it, this is the hose here. Now with having the airbox off, that'll make it easier to wiggle this hose loose here. Now, I'm just going to give it a little bit of push and pull, a little bit of rocking it back and forth. Might need two hands here. All right, two hands, I've got it wiggled loose a little bit here. I'm just going to pull it off the rest of the way. So now with this off, you want to be careful because you got this attached. So we're just going to kind of set that here. This is your throttle body. Now, this throttle body on the surface looks relatively clean. Now, when I push on this valve, you'll see all that black carbon in there that's built up. See all that? That's a dirty throttle body. So CRC makes probably what I found to be the best cleaner for this type of stuff. I've actually got a CRC throttle body cleaner and a CRC mass airflow cleaner that we're going to use today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the throttle body cleaner out and we're going to work with that, and then I will get the mass airflow sensor done next. So these are the two throttle body cleaners I was telling you about. They're both CRC. Your mass airflow cleaner and your throttle body air intake cleaner. Pick up both of these AutoZone. I think this one's around 10 bucks. This one's probably around 5 or 6. You won't need to use this very often. Every oil change or every 10,000 miles or so they recommend. It doesn't take much to do. There's not a lot of work involved on just this piece. Throttle body air intake cleaner I don't clean as often. It lasts a lot longer because I don't, but you'll see how that works in just a moment. All right, so I've put the little straw on here that I need for my CRC throttle body air intake cleaner, and all I'm going to do literally is spray it in, let it soak for just a minute. I'm going to reach in here and push this valve open a little bit, let some of that run down in there. Okay. Now, it used to be with the old cars, you had a cable you could work from the outside that would open up the throttle body. You'd be able to turn it, the valve would open. These now are all electronic, they're all internalized here, so I can't get to those cables anymore. So I've got to literally get in there and manually push this to get it open. Now as you can see, I don't know if you can or not, some of that black is already starting to run away and wear away because of the cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to put the phone down for a second, spray some more in there, and I'm going to use a brass or a nylon bristle brush, whichever one I can find over here, to clean this the rest of the way after it soaks some. Okay, so I have finished spraying and cleaning. I don't know if you all can see it or not, but it is far cleaner now on the valve and everything than it was. Now, I'll tell you now, whenever you've done this, and I'm interested to see how this works out because this is a push button start, and I kind of hate those, but that's just me. Thank you very much, foreign cars and technology. I'd rather have an old-fashioned key. But sometimes even with the old key motors, or with any of them, you really got to crank on them to get them to start and kind of turn them over a few times. They get a little, it's kind of just like it's almost a little flooded, and it is a little bit with just this cleaner. So I'm interested to see how this works with the push button, because I've never dealt with a push button with the cleaning out the throttle body, but we'll get there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this hose back in place. Now, one thing I will point out on this Mazda, I don't know how it is on all the rest of them, but my wife's, it's this way. You've got a notch here on the throttle body, okay? You want to line that up with the notch you got on the top of the hose here, okay? That's what's going to tell you get your air hose on correctly and on straight. Okay, so that's back on. Notches are lined up, and we've tightened it back in with this screw. So as you can see, it's not going anywhere. So now what we need to do is we're going to take this off. Okay, so as you can see, this is our mass airflow sensor. Now if you look in there, do not touch those brass pins, and you'll see it a little bit better when I get it out of here. We're going to remove it from up here, our 2 screws. We've just got to get rid of this tab. So it should just be a pinch squeeze. Yep, just a squeeze. I'm going to need 2 hands for this though. So you're going to pinch and squeeze here, and slide it off. Okay, as you can see, I just pinched it, squeeze it, slide it off. Okay, so now we've just got 2 screws we're going to take off here. Now this mass airflow sensor is safe for plastics and electronics. So we're going to spray this whole thing down here in just a second. It'll be all right. We just want to make sure it dries once we do. So I'm going to use my Phillips 2 to take this one out, and then I'll show you and we'll start spraying it. This is my helper. Say hi, helper. So it's unscrewed. We're just going to wiggle and pop this out. Just pull this straight out carefully. This is your mass airflow sensor on this 2013 Mazda CX5. Do not touch any part of the insides of this here, okay? So let me get out here. We got a little more light coming in from the outside. There we go. It's just plastic, a couple of electronic pins. So all we're going to do now, and I'll show you here, we're just going to spray it down. So I'm going to lay it on this towel here. Actually, an old beat up t-shirt here. Just like this. And I'm going to put the red straw in my mass airflow sensor cleaner, like I did my throttle body cleaner, and we're going to spray it down. Now it looks extremely clean, I will give it that. However, these are highly, highly, highly sensitive electronics. So the stuff we're going to use, again, CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner. I've got the red straw in there. I'm just going to hit it. Let it soak. Again, as I said, this stuff is safe for plastics, safe for paint, safe for electronics. It dries. No residue. Get it in there. Let's spray at the top of the plastic here too, just because it's safe for plastic and it won't be a big deal on all electronic connectors. So again, I'm just going to hit these brass pins. Get in here and hit these connectors, just because it's safe for electronics. Not going to hurt to get those parts clean too. I'm just going to shake it out now. Do not throw it or drop it and break that heartbeat. Once this is dry, we're just going to reverse the process and reassemble it. Alright, so all we're going to do now, we're going to slide this back in here carefully so that the connection is lined up that way. We'll put our 2 screws in, reconnect the connector. Alright, so I've got the 2 screws back in. I've slid the connector back over. Make sure it clicks so it snaps on. The only thing we have left to do is to put the airbox back in place, reconnect the hose, and tighten this up. Now, much like on the other side on this, there's a large tab and a large notch here that's going to guide you. We're just going to leave this here. We're going to slide it in. We'll get it all clicked in and tightened down. Alright, so I've tightened this screw back up. We're all hooked back in. You can see the tab and the notch line up. Only thing we're going to do now is on the airbox here in the back, you've got 3 little tabs. These little tabs here, we need to go into these first, so you'll want to angle the airbox to get it in there. As you can see, my tabs are now in. I'm going to push it backwards and down, and I'm just going to pull these clips back up on both sides. Clips, snap back in place, airbox is all tightened in, mass airflow sensor's been cleaned, screws on our bands are tight, and the throttle body's been cleaned. That's all there is to it, folks. That is cleaning the throttle body and mass airflow sensor on a 2013 Mazda CX5. One last thing I forgot, we're going to put this cover back on here and we'll just get it popped in. Now, as you can see, this is what I was talking about. There's not actually screws. It pops on here, and it's got the reverse of it here in the back, and then one here on the side. They just kind of tensioned in there. Alright, so she fired right up. She stalled out the one time. That's normal though, all that fluid in there. I just kept holding the push button down, She's up and running now. I'll give her a few revs to blow any of that remaining throttle body cleaner out. Let her go through her idle down process. These Sky Active technology vehicles and what they do with that high idle at first and then they come down. So, but everything's good. That's how you do it. 10 minutes, easy peasy.